they still may have hope of it happening during June. They're still working, towards creating or updating overall budget for the town. So that's where we are with that. So I think we still need to be prepared to, work on a budget and, have an open, public hearing on our budget sometime in the next, month or so. Just generally speaking, it could still get moved out. I would say. I think they're just kind of waiting to see what the next week or two holds with regards to whether the all the projections have been that COVID-19 will have its surge and spike in newly reported cases and the severest impact of it over the next week or two. So, and they're waiting to see what happens with that, as well as waiting on more guidance from the state, which again, I think they're probably waiting to see what happens overall the next couple of weeks. Someone did mention yesterday that at least the state has agreed to work on a single budget with the House and Senate, which is good. That'll speed up the process considerably at the state level. So that gives me some hope that we can get to some real projections sooner than later. So that's I guess the only update I have at this point. Last school committee meeting, we did discuss the fact that we think, our best case scenario, the last projection or information we had from the town was that they were had a slotted for a 2% increase over our FY20 appropriation, so a 2% increase into FY21. I would expect that is a very outside chance that we would get as much as that. I would expect something closer to 0 to 1%, but that's just speculating on my part. So I think we need to be prepared for something more in that range for FY21.
Brett?
Yes.
With regard to the public hearing, it does present some difficulties not knowing when the town meeting is going to be. So I would suggest, this is just my suggestion, but I am going to do a little bit more research on it and then get back to you. But given the fact that even before this happened, we didn't have a number from the town, and I don't know when we're going to get a number from the town. But we do have to have a public hearing regardless. So, in the past, in the last few years, sometimes we haven't had a number, so we do just have a public hearing on the, budget proposed, but I would recommend that we really take a look at what we do have proposed right now, obviously, and come up with something closer, I guess, to, what we think it might be, or maybe, I'm really not sure what to do, but
yeah, I wouldn't
want to miss a timeline with regard to having a public hearing, because we don't have a number from the town and we don't have a date from the town for the town meeting either.
I agree.
Complexities with that on the town side, but it does create a little bit of an issue with the public hearing date timeline, that's all.
Yeah, so I agree that we may need to move before we have a solid number from the town. I would not want to move forward with the original budget put forward. I think the highest number we should put forward in a public hearing is the 2%, but even that I think is higher than what we'd ever actually receive. So I would propose that we, at a public hearing, go with more of the 1%, knowing that, it might end up being a little lower, maybe it'll be a little bit higher, but that 1% I think is probably the closest and best, projection at this point.
Yeah, at least then I can be, we can be working on a budget, and I can be working on the document, and then just at least have the public hearing, and we can make it very clear at the public hearing that this is just, the best, just, a budget with the limited information that's available at this time on the town side and the school side, and that, when the town meeting does take place, whatever the final appropriation number is for the school department, that we will certainly go and make those adjustments and have another final approved budget from the school committee. And it'll be that simple, so.
Okay. I'll seek out some guidance from MASC with regards to holding a public hearing virtually. So I know that's a bit unusual. I think a public hearing should be truly in the public and in a physical open space. But I also know from my experience with the school committee over the last several years, we tend not to have any public at our public hearings. So I'm not overly concerned with it. But we do want to try to do the best we can to make it as open and as accessible as possible.
Mhm.
Oh,
And you know what we could do?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just jump in for a quick second for perspective taking here. As you know, we had proposed in our budget, initial budget, a number of additional positions, but also some additional technology needs, facilities needs, and so forth. We know that we could take those, well, we take the proposed faculty positions and probably the custodial position off the table. But the one thing that probably we should discuss is that we did meet with Donna Souza, our IT director. She did present an awful lot of concern relative to our IT. I think that that's going to be something that we're going to need to sit with her and discuss to see. I mean, because it's a substantial amount. We've been putting it off for a period of time, and we thought that we finally found the right time to put it in, but now it appears that it might not be the right time, and that's something that we probably should have some discussion around, because it was, as I recall, it was for the technology within the classrooms that the teachers would use on a day-to-day basis, and that was the concern.
Yeah, I have overall technology concerns given the situation that we're in. So, I think, it's a reality. I've understood, and I've been part of the actions that we've taken in the past and trying to, get more, teachers in buildings to get classroom ratios down and whatnot, and add different services. But technology is also a service for us, or it's a large part of what we do. So you got to invest in it every year. In the same way that we invest in personnel and other things. So I would expect that there's got to be some kind of technology and probably significant in the budget for next year. But I'd ask Donna and everybody to revisit what's really needed and even examine, are there other different needs that we've come to light over the last month as we're doing this remote learning. And it's quite possible that we will have to go back to this at some point in the fall too, if COVID, raises its ugly head again and resurges. So just I'd ask the administration to consider that for this budget.
Excuse me, Brett?
Yes.
Can you check with MASC? So we could certainly make how by law you have to make copies available of the budget to the public. And just check on if we made it available on our website. If that okay.
Okay, thank you. That's good point. I just gotta write that down, or I will forget that.
To that point of getting to a final number, the other challenge that we're going to have is working with all of the building principals as well as the department leaders to pare down the existing budget. But the other challenging piece of it is that normally we would sit in my office and we would go through it one by one and be able to engage. It's going to have to be done virtually at this point, it seems. And the challenges that might bring with it, and so forth. So
Kevin, can I ask something? And I want to be sensitive to everyone's thoughts on social distancing as well. But could you do something like utilize the middle school cafeteria and spread everybody way out 20 feet apart and get a whiteboard in there or something? Just curious.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think the issue with that would be making sure that we're being sensitive to any health concerns that, I mean, we have one person in particular I know that has some profound health concerns that we'd have to be sensitive to. So I maybe to the best extent possible, we can try to do that but I don't want to also make somebody feel that they're jeopardizing their well-being as well.
Understood. Yeah. Also on Zoom, if you guys are using Zoom, there's some, some share capabilities where you can do whiteboards and share documents and whatnot. I'm not sure how familiar you guys have gotten with that, but there's other ways
Okay.
as well. And we might be able to enlist some help from different folks on, getting familiar with that.
Very good.
Actually, if they all have their own budget binders with all their details, because as you know, we prepare the budget in great detail. So
Yep.
they each have their whole binder. And to be honest with you, usually, even before we have the meetings, as an admin, they do their own work separately as looking through
Right.
their whole budget, because Kevin always asks them, look with a fine tooth comb, look with a fine tooth comb, so,
Yeah.
they can do that. And then maybe, we can try to do as much as we can kind of offline and then come together with some kind of a listing that they can send to Kevin or whatever and go from there, I guess.
And I'm going to reach out to everybody today to see if they're available tomorrow to do an admin meeting specifically around this as our charge, to start looking at what's in the budget and things that they can maybe pare down a little bit to get down to that 1% number.
Yep. Yeah, I know it's not going to be easy.
No.
It's unfortunately we've been there before, so we know the drill.
Yeah, we know where it's leading.
Yeah. So
we know where it's leading. Yeah.
Okay. So anything else on, I guess that? So I guess my next question would be on our revolving funds and where we stand with those, and where are we at a point where we're ready to make additional decisions on additional uses of revolving funds in our budget?
Actually, I'm still monitoring FY20 because I'm not sure where FY20 really is going to end up.
Okay.
Circuit breaker is contingent on reimbursement from special ed tuitions. There's a lot going on with regard to that right now. And I'm only paying invoices right now through a certain date. And then, we've got the next couple of months. So that's a complication there. Preschool, of course, we ended school, and then, there's some complications there as well, how we're going to handle that. Obviously, through my listserv, every single day statewide, business managers are talking about these things. What are you doing with the tuitions? Are you still charging tuitions because you're getting some services, but yet it's not all the services? Are you not? Are you doing refunds? And then you've got the CB part of it. We've got the school choice where we don't know, if there are going to be any implications with regard to school choice for next year. So again, I don't know that I'd recommend any more there. It's just really everything's pretty much gotten extremely complicated. Every single aspect of finance has gotten very complicated. Even contractual issues that we've been spending the last month talking about almost on a daily basis.
Yep.
So, but I've been, keeping an eye on, of course, and then we've got the rules regarding the school lunch revolving fund with regard to that too, and whether or not you're allowed to continue under the, I should say, the guidelines by which you are or are not allowed to continue to charge staff to that account. And it can only be if we're doing the program that we have now stopped.
Yep.
So, a lot of complexities.
Okay.
A lot of complexities with every single thing. Yeah.
Okay. So I would just ask that, and in getting to that, 1% year over year appropriation increase, that you just, again, re-examine revolving funds to the extent that you can. Again, I understand it's imperfect and a lot of information not available currently. So
no, I understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess, we said we want to get to an open hearing sooner than later. What kind of dates do we think we're looking at would be appropriate? And again, I think this,
Okay.
well,
if you don't, I don't have, oh wait, you know what? I might just have the law right here.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I usually carry it forward from year to year in my binder. If you could just hold on 1 second.
sure.
I'm just looking at, let's see. Oh no, wait, you know what? We already did provide our budget to the town.
We did.
So you know what? Technically, as far as, okay, because I was thinking of two different laws. So technically we have, so the other law is with regard to putting the ad in the newspaper is 2 weeks prior to our public hearing.
Okay,
Okay, so I would recommend, and of course it depends on Kevin, whatever you think, time wise, I mean,
Well, I think we're gonna need a little bit of time. I mean, we're in the middle of
Yeah.
April now. I would say probably early May, maybe
Yeah.
mid-May.
so our first weekend in May, our normal schedule will be May 6th,
May 6th is our first May meeting, right?
correct?
May 6th. And today is what?
The
The 15th.
15th, so that's 3
Okay.
weeks out.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, we kind of know where it's probably going to end up because a huge percentage of our budget is staffing. So that is the reality. And let's keep in mind as well that we can keep reminding people of this too to try to quelch some of the anxiety, is that when we come down to this 1% budget, and you're right, I'm glad we reminded ourselves that we did comply with the law, that the town does have our budget
Yep.
approved by the school committee. Our initial preliminary superintendent's budget has been sent to the town, so we're all set with that. And certainly we'll get this to them too as well, when we do make these reductions, well, immediately after we've done it. But we can certainly, just keep reiterating that, this is unprecedented times, uncharted grounds and all that, and that there may very well be some changes, going forward. But this is just where we are right now, based on the information that we have right now, to try to mitigate some anxiety to the best we can, I guess. But yeah, we can do that. So I can have Lauren get the ad in there, in the Telegram for May 6th.
So the other thought was, is there really any harm if you wanted to push it back to the 20th to give due deliberation to the process? I mean, I think we could get the 6th done.
No, that's a good point, Kevin.
20th would give you a little bit of time to take care of all the nuances. And I say that only because Brett, you mentioned in the beginning that you think that town meeting might not happen until sometime in June. That will still give us a little bit of time before June. That gives us a week and a half before June comes around. So
actually, that's a good point, and actually for a number of other reasons too, Kevin. That still gives you plenty of time with regard to the any letters that have to go out. It also gives us a little bit more time that we may receive some more information as well.
Great.
right.
Because every single day, we're getting different information, most of it bad, but maybe some will be good.
Well, because Brett, what I was thinking was we still have an open invitation to Senator Fatman and Representative McKenna, and maybe we could use that 6th to get the updates that they had told us they were going to bring back to us with regards to federal stimulus and some of those other things that might shed a little bit of light as well in advance, and then give us that week and a half to make some adjustments if we need to,
Good
or
point.
even paring it down more, or maybe bringing some things back depending upon what we have for information.
Okay. Yeah, I had a personal preference for the 6th because one of the things I did discuss last night at the Board of Selectmen's meeting is that the town election will still be held on May 12th.
And I agree with Brett there.
So,
Okay, how about if we, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but can we sort of split the difference maybe, or when is the 12th?
the 12th is the following Tuesday.
There's really no difference. So the 6th then would make the most sense, Brett, then.
It just keeps me around
Okay.
for that, because that will be my last official school committee meeting for this term.
And of that, you're 100% certain?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Yes.
Can't imagine why. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, go to 20. If you go to the 20th, I'll be happy to sit in the audience and participate as a member of the public.
What audience, Brett?
I'll be the audience.
Audience, okay. Now you've got 3 witnesses to that now.
Yeah.
So let me ask,
Or, because I think Kelly might be on YouTube.
Yeah.
if we're going to do the 6th, when do we need this actually done in available, Courtney? So do we have to have it?
Does that have to be posted a number of days before?
No, because no, I just have to have, we do still have to find out about that copies part of it.
Yeah. So I'll find out with that.
Now, I would think, Brett, that because, I know, some people might think that all the laws have gone out the window, but no, there are still a lot of laws that are absolutely still in place 100%. So we do want to check on that, but I would think maybe there's something there that allows you to get it online.
And would we need it by like May 1 for the school committee for their packet?
And in the past, we brought it, well, you brought it to the meeting. I keep forgetting. Yeah. We can get it out to them as soon, before, remember, we'll have budget subcommittee, I would imagine, before that too.
Yeah, as I say, I
Yeah.
would think we would want to discuss again before then, and
Yeah.
then, but I think, yeah, you'd want to have it at the whole committee by the 4th at the latest, on that
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Get it to the whole committee for, and I'll check with them, try to get some guidance from MASC on posting it, but I would think, assuming we can post it online, I would want to have that posted 48 hours before as well for people to view. But
Okay.
we'll see. Again, they might say it needs to be more. They might say there's no requirement, but even under no requirement, it'd be
Yeah.
great to have it posted out there with some advance.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so for Brett and Lisa, just so that as we leave and go forward with the process, we've universally, and Courtney, tell me if I'm wrong here, but we've universally tried to keep staffing and programs as our two key focal points. And I just want to confirm right now that's we're going forward with those as our priorities.
I would agree, but I think you got to throw technology in there.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way with the numbers we're going to be,
I
but that's going to
get that, but again,
But as far as you're absolutely correct. As far as what we do attempt to do, because that's the priority. We're a school district. We're here for our students, so.
And if it means that we need to take that larger picture that Donna presented to us, and we got to parse it out over maybe a year or two,
Yeah.
if we could get something. My assumption is that, and I didn't get a chance to ask Senator the Fat Man when I talked to him most recently. My sense is that any hope of us getting that funding to support the elementary school, I would venture to guess is probably not going to happen, but I don't know.
I'm not sure, because I think this current situation probably, highlights the need even more. And I think that,
Well, I agree.
at the state level, they might be putting some dollars towards that kind of effort. So I think there's an argument made the other way too, that it might actually be more likely.
Okay.
But I know the dollar's going to be very tight at the state levels too. So yeah, you're not wrong in questioning that, but I wouldn't want to throw that out yet.
Because there's those two things. There's what Donna was looking for district-wide, and then there was also the initiative that we had in play at the elementary school, which was to get the one-to-ones at the elementary and then parse down the decent iPads down to the primary school, and we would be pretty much set. And again, it goes back to your point, Brett, if they end up in a situation next year in November when they're back to having to go home and do remote learning for the month of November because the virus has shown itself. We were just barely able. I mean, Donna and Scott and Zach did a miraculous job of just meeting all the needs that we had for take-home use, because obviously we don't normally let our primary school take-home devices in, nor do we let our elementary school take-home devices. So, I hope, your point is well taken, Brett. Maybe if we can truly emphasize just how challenging it was to meet the remote learning, and we know that there's a very real possibility of a reoccurrence. You're seeing it in China right now, as a matter of fact. So, maybe they will jump on board. And again, the other piece of it was, I know that we originally, I think Donna, correct me if I'm wrong here, that Donna we had submitted the big purchase through capital, but I'm assuming the capital is going to be on hold for the year anyways.
Yeah, I never heard back to anything, even since I submitted it, so.
So I'll just go back and temper my own comments. I don't think we can count on that from the state, but I wouldn't want to eliminate it. But I think we need to plan to do that. So and if that means it's our own local expenditure, and if we happen to get state, money on that, then we'll have that expenditure to deal with some of the other technology that we pushed off. So I think you got to prioritize. And in my mind, those one-to-ones are probably high on the priority list.
Right.
So count on, plan on us spending the money to do that. If the state comes through, then that money can be used to deal with the 10-year-old desktops that we have.
So I'm reminded, it just came to me that we did use the rural money that we received for some computer purchases. Courtney, you remember exactly what that was for?
Actually, the rural aid, there's still, I believe, 23,000. In fact, I just wrote that down because Ellen reminded me yesterday when she was reviewing all the grants and revolving funds and donation accounts that I believe she said, I think it's in a text actually, 23,000 is still in there. And we have to spend that before the end of the year. So she had sent that to me. You know,
Yes.
was we were all on track, and then all of a sudden overnight everything changed, and so we're now just getting back, because of all the hoopla that's been going on, to what got 20. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, rural aid. That was rural aid, 23,564.90.
And I believe we targeted it for the high school. One of the labs, I think it was. There was some upgrading of labs. I think we had targeted it for.
Yeah.
So that's
I was
at
looking
least
into that,
there's
yeah.
one thing that we've technologically addressed. That's a
Yep.
starting point. And so Brett and Lisa, let me know what your thoughts are. But if we're going to do the 6th, would it make sense to invite Senator Fatman and Representative McKenna and do what we did last year, which was to have them come up first and speak with them, and then we did the budget presentation right after they were done.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want, I'm open to a meeting on the 29th as well, a week before, if we want to get them a full week ahead of time as well. So,
You want me to reach out to them both, or are you going to reach out to them? How do you want to do this?
why don't you do it just in case this thing gets dragged out and runs beyond my term? So.
All right, so we're in agreement. And the only thing on the docket for the 29th would be for the Representative McKenna and Senator Fatman.
I would say for now, I'm just something else might come up too, Kevin. So I've had it in the back of my mind that we might need a meeting that week anyways. So.
Okay, I will do that today.
May I ask, so for this particular budget, geez, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. You know how I typically do the whole PowerPoint thing? I don't know.
I think, again, there's ways of sharing things, from a public hearing perspective on the share screen. So if you had something we could put up on screen and click through it and.
Yeah, I just didn't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So if it's a technology question, I think we can get around that.
No, it's not a technology question. It was just a question of the value of doing that.
Yep.
It's just going to be / to get down to a number, and it's not even a number that we even have. I don't know that there's any meaning to it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and we got.
Also, I think if we're having a public hearing on the 6th, I would expect that we would have some guidance from the town by then. If we don't have guidance from the town by then I'm thinking they're probably not doing an annual town meeting in June, and it's going out later. And again, I'm speculating here a bit, so I'm just trying to play this thing forward to see, if the case is that we don't, if we learn on May 4th that the annual town meeting isn't going to be until August, then it probably doesn't make sense to have the public hearing then, and we would push that off to a later date. Does that make sense?
Well, no, what I'm saying, Brett, is it takes a lot of time in other words, if we find out, say May 4th, let's use their example, that they're going to have the town meeting in June, in 2 days, to try to get, redo the entire budget and then do the PowerPoint and all that and have it up for the 6th is.
Yeah, I got you.
Not too doable. Yeah,
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. The budget, I can do the budget. I don't care if I have 24 hours a day. I can get the budget done, the detailed budget, I'm just talking about that PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you do me a favor? Could you send a previous version of the PowerPoint to me? Just so I can take a look and see it, and maybe I can see if there's any piece of it that I think would be of value.
Yep, sure.
To try, but
yep, and I started it for the budget that we were going to have.
Yeah.
I always try to start because it takes quite a while to get it done. So I always try to get as much done, and then I keep going in and changing and updating constantly.
Yeah. No, but
We'll see. Okay.
Courtney, could I get that also?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Lisa, would you like it too?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to look at a school committee meeting on April 29th with inviting our state representatives there. And then,
Brett, if not available, do you still want to have the meeting on the 29th?
I think that's an open question, depending on what other needs pop up, Kevin. So, again, I'd like us to keep that night open on our calendar. Again, no one's flying off to Bora Bora.
No,
So
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out contacting Lauren and having her post it and everything.
yeah, we've got some time.
We've got time
So
to wait. Yeah, we can wait to post it.
yeah, we don't have to post it right now, but just want to keep that
All right.
in mind. And then Mace, so again, tentatively, not tentatively, we're going to post a public hearing, and we're going to post it in the papers for May 6th. So if we have to cancel, if that does get moved off May 6th and we've already posted in the newspaper, is there a requirement that we put it back in the newspaper? That it's been canceled? Yes. I gotta imagine there's some leeway
we
there.
have to keep putting it in the newspaper that we're having it. In other
Okay.
words, we would have to post it to school, and we would put it on the website. We would send it to the town. I mean, we would try to do everything we could to get it out that it was canceled.
Yeah.
But then, of course, when we reschedule it, we've got that
To
same
repost it.
requirement.
Okay.
So I guess we would look at the Friday before April 29th, Kevin, to be, for Lauren to be looking to post on Thursday, because if they close on Friday, Thursday before the 29th. And
So
that way,
23rd.
if anything, Brett, if you want anything else added,
It's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, Kevin, it can't hurt to just post it now.
Right. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
We'll post it now.
Yeah, go ahead. Post it now.
That's a week from tomorrow?
No, it's
Oh,
the 29th is 29th is 2 weeks from today.
oh, okay.
Right.
No, but the posting is a week from tomorrow, though. You're right.
Yeah, right. The week, right. Wow. Okay.
So,
It
yeah.
seemed like it was a month off.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. We can just update it like we do, if we
Yeah.
need to add to it, yeah.
Yep.
Jeez. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Okay. So Kevin, go back to your point on the budget. Yeah, we want to, the goal is always preserve as much services as we can.
Right.
But yeah,
I mean,
preserve our programs to the extent that we can. And I think that means, preserve our clubs, preserve our athletics, preserve our band, unless that means that our classrooms are getting over 30 per classroom. But I think, you got to balance that. We're probably going to see some increase in classroom sizes potentially if there have to be cuts. I think I speak for the whole committee that we have an appetite for some increase in class size, moderate increase in class size while keeping programs.
Yeah.
But if that class size grows too big, then you have to start thinking about cutting the programs.
Right.
Again, if it gets to that point. I don't know. Lisa, you agree that?
I agree.
I think everyone else is probably on the same page there.
And just for clarification, Brett, I think I heard you say this, and I think I agree. If we find out in the next week or so from the Board of Selectmen that they've made a definitive decision to move the town meeting until the end of
whatever.
July or
Yeah.
August, then we would pull back on this because it could be an exercise in futility, because it might
Correct.
be better. It
Yeah.
might be
Might be worse.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else today?
Not that I can think
No,
of.
it's hard to go into too much detail right now. Just too many unknowns.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, I'm not sure if there was a legislative, a briefing yesterday. I read some blog posts about it, but just looking at the state picture, and I don't know if Courtney, if you had a chance to reading in there or sit on it, but they're painting a pretty bleak picture at the state level
Yeah.
of revenues being down in the
Yeah.
magnitude of $3 to $6 billion, depending on which they had 19 different people come up and talk, and all of them had their different projections on what they thought was going to happen. But I think the best case scenario was revenue shortfalls of $3 billion at the state level, unemployment at 17%, stuff like that. So that's just for if anyone's watching at home, why we're talking about it being lots of unknowns and maybe a bleak picture from a budgeting perspective next year. That is why.
Well, and I think I mentioned, I can't remember, it was yesterday. What did we have yesterday? Oh, we had a negotiation meeting, but I think I mentioned that During the conference that I attended for the commissioner yesterday, everybody has been scrambling to try to get their documents in for the Student Opportunity Act, which was a historic appropriation of money in support of education, and that those districts who had not really submitted their final documents right now should not feel that they're feet to the fire, which, if you read between the lines, basically indicates that they may have to pull back on that Student Opportunity Act, just in order to respond to what you just talked about, Brett, which is the very bleak financial prognosis that we have.
Right.
And what a shame, because it took decades to get to that point.
Right.
Decades. Yep.
So, I mean, I think your point is very well taken, Brett. There's going to be some bleak numbers coming forward, I think, for everybody.
Yeah. So now there's I guess a positive and a negative for Douglas. I guess the negative was, under the Student Opportunity Act, we weren't seeing much of a benefit from that. It was historic from a state perspective.
Yeah.
So that money going away doesn't really. So the positive is that money going away doesn't really impact us. We weren't counting on too much from that.
No.
Very good.
But it is a sad thing for the state, though. A lot of other districts are gonna suffer from the
Yeah.
that not coming to fruition. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's true.
So. Okay, if nothing else today, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn at 9:41.
So moved.
Okay, motion from Lisa. I will second that. Any other discussion? Roll call vote on that.
Lisa Brown, aye.
Brett Argel, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.